On today's show, grading the Pascal Siakam trade for the Toronto Raptors. Did Masai Ujiri get enough back for Siakam, or did they maybe wait a little bit too long to try and trade him? Also, what's next for this Raptors team with a young core of Scottie Barnes, RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel quickly? Are they going to bottom out, or should they try and be competitive and make the play-in tournament? It's all coming up right here at Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, and welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA, the biggest stories with the local experts. I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, also host of Locked On Rockets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now, today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. At the start of the new year, every small business owner is asking themselves the same question. What's the one move I can make that'll take my business to the next level in 2024? LinkedIn Jobs knows that your success all depends on the team you surround yourself with. That's why LinkedIn Jobs has created the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy that, in fact, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn also knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, the process is intuitive, quick, and easy. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Joining us now is the host of Locked On Raptors, Sean Woodley, who can track down wherever you listen to your podcasts, and on YouTube, just search Locked On Raptors. And Sean, the last time we had you on Locked On NBA, you said that there might be a possibility Pascal Siakam stays in Toronto long term. And here we are on the other side of that conversation. Pascal Siakam, no longer a member of the Toronto Raptors, traded for a haul that includes Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora, Kira Lewis Jr., and 3 first-round draft picks. So as you're sitting on the other side of that conversation now, just in the aftermath, Siakam is no longer a Raptor. Just walk us through, because Siakam meant a lot to this Raptors organization, not just, we'll get to what the trade meant and kind of grading, the evaluations, all that, but just what did Siakam mean to this Raptors team?
Yeah, man, Siakam was basically the embodiment of everything that made the Raptors a championship organization back in 2019. He was a guy they drafted with the 27th overall pick and developed through the G League and through sort of careful, methodical winning while developing, team building. And he turned into this incredible, multifaceted, and sort of ever-evolving star player. 2-time All-NBA. He's top 5 for the Raptors in every major category. And he goes down as an easy top 5 Raptor of all time, I think, surpassing even the likes of Chris Bosh as far as his contributions to the franchise. It's a big loss, and it's a really stark changing of the era. I get the reasons why this happened, right? He's 6 years older, 7 years older than Scottie Barnes. There's all that sort of timeline stuff to consider. He's about to get very expensive, obviously, and getting expensive comes with all these different sort of considerations in the NBA these days. I still think the best path for the Raptors was to extend Pascal Siakam and try to trade him down the line for a better haul. I don't think they really got enough for what Pascal Siakam is right now. And I do think there was something there in the Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, Pascal Siakam, Scottie Barnes foursome to start a team with. But obviously, things were trending differently. The Raptors basically telegraphed in the offseason that they did not want Pascal Siakam back. And so I'm disappointed with the way it kind of has ended. It seemed like there was a bit of weirdness between the front office and Pascal Siakam over the last 6 months or so that kind of soured the relationship. Hopefully bygones can be bygones. It seems like, Pascal and Masai Ujiri had a good chat a week before the trade to sort of, smooth things over. But yeah, it's a weird time watching the Toronto Raptors this week without Pascal Siakam putting up 22, 7, and 5 for them as he has for many, many years now.
So at this point, then, you were kind of against the idea of moving on from Siakam, but what's done is done. It's happened. How would you mentioned not necessarily getting enough for Siakam. How would you grade, in the totality here, Masai Ujiri in moving off of OG Anunoby, then subsequently moving off of Pascal Siakam, and now the Raptors are kind of loaded up. They've got picks, they've got some assets. Maybe you flip Bruce Brown a little bit further down the line if you don't think he's a long-term fit next to kind of this young core that you've got, this young trio. How would you evaluate Masai Ujiri and how he's navigated, this trade specifically, but also kind of at large the whole situation?
Yeah, like I think the Siakam trade for me probably gets like a C plus. Like I do think they got a decent haul considering what the market was and what the circumstances were, but a lot of the circumstances were self-imposed, where they sort of nuked their own leverage in the whole situation by not trading him in the summer, by not extending him, and sort of again telegraphing to the world that they didn't really have interest in extending him. It made it so there was not a very robust market for him, and they misread the market, I think, to not trade him in the summer, thinking they could get something better in season. That said, I do think they really nailed the OG Anunoby trade, and I think Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett, I mean, Barrett's just playing unbelievable ball right now for the Raptors. Quickley is settling in nicely to a lead guard role. I think in the grand scheme of things, you turn OG and Pascal into Quickley, Barrett, Bruce Brown, AK, or whatever Bruce Brown becomes, Jordan Warwick, Kira Lewis. I think those guys are just kind of salary filler that I'm not sure are going to be around super long term. And those 3 first-round picks, I think they did fine, a B plus, something like that. I think I am, however, pretty excited about where things go from here, and that's because there's clarity. I think if anything, the sort of big positive takeaway from what the Raptors have done over the last 3 weeks is now we know exactly what they're trying to do. The team also knows what they're trying to do. The coaching staff knows the direction here. The last 2 seasons were spent with this cloud of uncertainty hanging over the team. Will they trade Fred VanVleet? Will they not? Why are they getting Jakob Poeltl when they're 6 games below 500? Are they going to keep him in the summer? What's going on there? Gary Trent Jr. keeps being a free agent every year. OG Anunoby's got a pending contract. Pascal Siakam. All this stuff was just hanging over the team and kind of poisoning everything, frankly. Poisoning the fan experience because you didn't know what to expect or where things were going. Poisoning the sort of room, it seemed, just because everyone was kind of walking on eggshells, wondering, okay, who's getting traded next and what's happening. Now there's clarity and there's a young, interesting core around Scottie Barnes. And I don't think this is going to be one of those prolonged 5-year rebuilds where they go and try to play the lotto game. I think they have the guy that you tank for. They got Scottie Barnes, and they have Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett. From there, they have these extra picks to work with, and I don't think it's going to be this sort of long, laborious run for the team to get competitive again. I think things are already looking up, and right now, it kind of feels like as barren as it's going to get for the Raptors, and I think that's pretty exciting. With those extra assets in the door and the clarity moving forward, I do think that is the big win from these series of moves.
Aside from just, now bottoming out and trying to procure the best possible draft odds at the end of the season, what becomes the goal in your eyes for the rest of this season? What should this Raptors group be trying to achieve or trying to find out about itself for the rest of this season?
Well, I don't think they're going to try to bottom out, first of all. Like, they don't have their pick. It's a top 6 protected pick to the San Antonio Spurs. And yes, you could say, well, you're not that far away from the bottom 6. You could get in there. I just frankly think it's better for the Raptors if they just convey the pick this year and get it out of their lives. Okay. We've been sort of upset about this Jakob Poeltl trade, pick that's gone out the door for the last year, relitigating the Jakob Poeltl trade over and over again. And if you just get that deal, that sort of trade off your books, that pick goes to the Spurs. It's like what, the 8th, 9th pick, something like that. Maybe they make the play-in. I think that's totally on the table as well. Maybe they do give away something in the low lottery. I think that's fine. Just move on. You have 2 picks now in this draft from the Pacers trade. You also have the 1st or 2nd pick in the 2nd round from the OG Anunoby trade as well. And so I think they're well stocked with picks in this year's draft, but they don't need to go and fight to scrape and claw and keep this pick. And I do think this is the type of franchise that does not like to tank. They did in Tampa because, the world forced their hand a little bit a few years back, and they got Scottie Barnes with some lotto luck. I don't think they have an appetite to go and try to lose. I think what they're going to try to do, and Masai Ujiri kind of said this in his press conference after the trades this week, they're going to try to just see what this group has. Let them cook, see what's there. Maybe there's a move before the deadline, but I don't think we're going to see Scottie Barnes shut down prematurely. I don't think there's going to be phantom injuries ruling guys out of the lineup. I think they're going to make an earnest go at the play-in and have the pick convey in all likelihood and go into the summer with all of their picks unencumbered going forward, where they can then work with the extra picks that they have from this trade and maybe see if they can try to add the types of players they've been looking for, which are young, ready to contribute, sort of established guys like Quickley, like Barrett. I think that's sort of the next step in the Pascal Siakam trade. Masai Ujiri said he's likely not going to make all the picks they have in this upcoming draft. I think their goal here is to find players who fit with Barnes, who fit with Quickly, who fit with Barrett long term. And I think those picks are going to be a way they do that. And I don't think they're going to go out of their way to drop down the lotto odds, especially considering all of the bonuses that come with just getting this pick out of their lives, no longer a worry thing hanging over their head. And again, at a draft that everyone kind of agrees is not all that stacked up at the top anyway.
Will the new look Raptors be able to make a push for the NBA play-in tournament with Quickly, Barrett, and Scottie Barnes, the new little trio in Toronto? Will Bruce Brown be on the move, or is he going to stick around long-term in Toronto? You're going to have us covered for all of that and more over at Locked On Raptors. Sean, thanks for stopping by Locked On NBA with me.
Anytime, man.